I'm Delaney Conant, and I'm the host of Energy Equalizer. I help others become the best versions of themselves and help create the right mindset for people to have a relationship with their self. On this podcast, you will hear about all things positivity, relationships, mindset, business, and more. If you're looking to live a fulfilling life and reach your fullest potential, this podcast is for you. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you a part of my audience. Alright, before we start, we're going to get our energy into a relaxed and inspired state. So, take a deep breath, hold, and let out slowly. Now state aloud something that you're grateful for. I'll go first. Right now, I'm very grateful that I can breathe through my nose because the past 2 days I haven't been able to do that. And we don't really appreciate our health until it's gone. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to breathe through my nose right now. Today we're talking about leadership and the major attributes of a leader, the importance of a leader, and all those types of things. So before I begin to talk about the attributes of a leader, I'm going to say that anybody can be a leader. A lot of people say people are born to be leaders, which may be true, but I can tell you right now, if you work at it and take on the attributes of a leader and actually build your skill of being a leader, anybody can be a leader. It doesn't matter your age, gender, who you are. It really does not matter. But you can be a leader. The 11 major attributes of leadership. Number 1, unwavering courage. So no follower wishes to be led by somebody who lacks self-confidence and courage. So as a leader, you need to understand who you are. You need to love yourself and have that self-confidence and courage to be able to take risks and be able to lead your team into whatever you're leading them into. And any aspect, literally almost anything needs a leader. A team, they need a leader if you want to be successful. A company needs a leader, a business needs a leader, a group of friends, they need a leader. Almost every aspect in life that has more than one person needs some sort of leadership. But to be able to have that courage is so important. You understand that taking risks is almost necessary to be successful. And you don't let fear control you. You have the courage to be able to be like, okay, like, I think this is going to work. And actually, no, you don't think you know that it's going to work. And that's the type of courage that a leader has. Because, like I said, no follower wishes to be dominated by a leader who lacks self-confidence and courage. Number 2 is self-control. So people who can't control themselves can never control others. If you don't have self-control, you're basically saying that you're weak, because if you are presented with something that is very pleasurable and desirable, but you know it's not going to be good in the long run, and you give in, you have zero self-control. And nobody wants to be looking up to someone who doesn't have that type of self-control, because you can't even be a leader to yourself. So what makes them think that you're going to be a good leader for them? Number 3 is a keen sense of justice. So without sense of fairness and justice, no leader can command and retain the respect of his or her followers. If you do not make it fair upon everybody, and if you do not take responsibility for the things that you have failed on, your followers will see you as someone who can't be respected. Because if you don't have respect for the people that are looking up to you, it means you don't have respect for yourself, and nobody wants to be disrespected. Therefore, you will not be seen as a leader. Number 4 is every aspect of leadership needs to have a definiteness of decision. Because think about it. If you have like certain amount of options and you just sit there and you're like, oh, like I really have no idea which one I want to choose, like it just shows that you are not confident in yourself and your knowledge. When you have that definite decision, it shows confidence. It shows that you know what you're going after. You know exactly the roadmap to get to there. And so when you have definiteness of decision, people respect that, and they see that you know what you're here for and that you believe in yourself. People who waver in decisions show that they are not sure of themselves. They cannot lead others successfully because they don't have that confidence. Number 5 is definiteness of plans. The successful leader must plan the work and work the plan. A leader who moves by guesswork without practical, definite plans is comparable to a ship without a rudder. Sooner or later, it will land on the rocks. Having a plan is very important. It's because if you're just going through life through the motions and you don't really have a plan to get to your end goals, you're just going to react rather than take life into your own hands and get to that end goal. So leaders need to have that definiteness of plans and know what their end goal is and know what step to take to each goal. And if you don't know what your next 5 moves will be in life, you need to sit down, think about, okay, what are my next 5 goals? And think about what XYZ under those, each big next 5 moves, think of XYZ of things you will do to fulfill that move. Number 6 is the habit of doing more than paid for. Being a leader is doing more than required for their followers. If you're just doing the bare minimum, what is expected, you're not going to be seen as a leader, because leaders are constantly growing and thinking of new things to help their followers. And if you're just doing the bare minimum, what you're being told to say and to do, nobody's going to see you as a leader. People are just going to be seeing you as someone who takes what is told to you and just tells it to other people. You don't really actually know what you're speaking about or showing. 7 is a pleasing personality. Leadership calls for respect, and followers will not respect leaders who do not score highly on all factors of a pleasing personality. So basically, that's just saying that leaders have a high self-esteem and a positive self-image always. And that takes lots of time of learning how to love yourself, becoming self-aware, perceiving yourself as a high vibrational person and you're a positive person. That's how you have a pleasing personality. And you always lead with love, and you always have people's best interests in mind. That is a pleasing personality to followers. More people will see you as a leader if you're willing to put their best interest in mind and willing to actually help them no matter the cost. You're doing it for free. You're always leading with love because love always wins. Number 8 is just having sympathy and understanding your followers, because successful leaders must be in sympathy with their followers, because you need to understand them and their problems. Otherwise, you won't be able to help them. For example, when I make my videos, I'm constantly thinking, okay, what is my audience dealing with at the moment? And then I make a video hopefully helping with their issue. I'm always thinking about what are my followers dealing with at the moment? And you need to sympathize with them and understand where they're coming from, because not everybody's going to be in a good mood all the time. Life will always have its challenges. So as a leader, when you're willing to sympathize and understand your followers, they will highly respect you and see you as someone who is loving and willing to help them. Number 9 is willingness to assume full responsibility. So successful leaders must be willing to assume responsibility for the mistakes and shortcomings of their followers. If they try to shift this responsibility, they will not remain leaders. If followers make mistakes and become incompetent, it is the leader who has failed. So for example, if you're running a business and your customer or client comes to you with an issue that they don't like, they come to you with a conflict, you need to be willing to take full responsibility and say, okay, this was my fault. What can I do to make you feel better or resolve the issue? A leader does not put blame on others. They take blame for what is their fault, and they also remain humble. The last major attribute of leadership is cooperation. Successful leaders must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort and be able to induce followers to do the same. Leadership calls for power, and power calls for cooperation. If you're not willing to cooperate with your followers, again, they won't respect you and they will not like you. Therefore, you won't be a leader, because if nobody likes you and nobody wants to follow you, you're not considered a leader. You need to be able to cooperate and get everybody's ideas so that you can have everybody's best interest in mind and make the experience more enjoyable to everybody. So anyone who makes these attributes the basis of their leadership will find abundant opportunity to lead in any walk of life. And there's always opportunities to lead and be a leader. So if you follow those major attributes in any walk of life, you will find an opportunity to be the main leader. And make sure you're leading by consent and not force, because leading by consent, you get the consent of the followers, and then you're able to be more likable and more help them because they're consenting you to be the leader. However, when you lead by force, it's not consentful. Nope, that makes it just not enjoyable for anybody. So make sure you're leading by consent and not by force. And like I said earlier, leaders have high self-esteem and a positive self-image. Therefore, they value themselves and they feel worthwhile. Self-esteem is basically just how much you like and love yourself. And a lot of that takes time. Like, you can tell your mind, okay, I love myself, but if you don't truly love yourself, you won't be able to have that high self-esteem, which means you can't be a leader. This is important because the way you feel inside, the beliefs and the ideas that you have about yourself is going to guide the way you perform on the outside. So being the best versions of yourself will ultimately make your followers the best versions of themselves when you implement the key habits that you help to love yourself. When you put that on your followers and your audience, they will start to implement those too and start to love themselves. The last thing I have to say is all leaders are self-aware. So actually, this actually happened one time. I remember I was at a softball camp in Michigan, and it was like 2 days, and each day was like 8 hours long, and it was exhausting. But I remember there was a mindset coach there, and every time at the end of each day, the different coaches would come around and talk about their specialties. So I remember the mindset coach came, and he was asking us what makes a good teammate or what makes a team successful. I don't remember what he asked, but I remember that every single person had to answer. And I remember when he got to me, I just kept raising my hand because I was so excited to share my answer because I knew that nobody else would give this answer. And I had my hand raised, and he came to me at one of the last people. I said that a person needs to be self-aware so that they can be the best for their teammates and help their teammates out. And after I said that, he was like, that's my leader right there. And so yeah, leaders are self-aware. All leaders are self-aware. So I don't know, I just remember that story and that happening. And I thought it was cool because, like, he didn't really respond to anybody else. He kind of just kept moving through the hands. But when it came to me and I said, like, yeah, like, you need to be self-aware so that you can be the best teammate and help your team succeed. And he goes, yep, that's my leader right there. And yeah, and I don't know, it just helped my self-esteem a lot. And that's when I was like, yeah, you're right. Thank you so much for showing up today and listening to this episode. I'm so grateful you are here. I understand that your time is valuable, so I hope I was able to add some value to your life. I see you working to be the best versions of yourself. Never give up and always have faith in yourself. Love you all.